Hey there and welcome. We're talking about the two big problems that we need to solve right now in order for you to easily drop your last 10 pounds, feel amazing in your jeans, feel confident, everything that you want to feel. There are two problems standing in your way from getting there. We're talking all about that today. Welcome, you guys. My name is Tanessa Shears. I'm a weight loss coach for women. I help women find systems and take the step-by-step action they need to balance their hormones and drop their last 10 pounds effectively. I'm the creator of the Last Diet Makeover program, and what we're going to talk about today are two things that are huge, and you can't do one without the other. So let's jump right in. If you are here today, I would love you to drop a hello in the comments. Don't forget, if you're watching later on the replay, say hi, let me know you're here. I'm so excited to be teaching you guys this stuff. This stuff jazzes me up. If you guys follow me on my Instagram stories or on Facebook, you know that I spend all of my spare time reading books, listening to podcasts, taking courses on health, on nutrition, on exercise, on helping you understand what's going on in our bodies. Because what we've come to realize over the last couple of years is that all of the advice that we've been given on how to take better care of ourselves has been upside down, backwards, completely wrong. I mean, think about it. If all the advice we have been given over the 90s and the 2000s had been so effective for us, why are we a nation that keeps gaining weight and getting sicker and sicker? What I'm here to talk to you guys today is two things that we need to master. And there's no way about it. If we want to get into the bodies we feel confident in, and it doesn't just have to do with a number on the scale, but if we want to be at our natural weight, somewhere we feel good, let's address these two problems. So problem number one is that we need to get your insulin lower. If you're sitting here right now going, what's insulin? We need to talk. So insulin is a hormone in the body. Hormones' job is basically, they're chemical messengers. They take actions on cells and they regulate the systems in the body. So insulin is a hormone that has been talked about more and more and more as the science is emerging to support that. It may not be this whole eat less, exercise more that's the solution to feel better. It's these two problems that I'm going to be talking to you about. Number one, insulin needs to get lower. So if you're looking at me saying, well, what the heck is insulin? That's a great question. So insulin is a hormone, and its job is to facilitate storage of the food you eat. So when you eat a meal, anytime you eat most foods, it makes the hormone insulin go up in the body, and then what it does is it takes all the food that we've been eating and stores it away. Stores it in a couple places. It can put it in the liver, it can put it in the muscle, or it can put it in body fat. And this is what the problem is we're running into. And the way our diets are constructed, we are being told, eat low fat, eat yogurt for breakfast with lots of fruit, eat healthy cereals, eat lots of oatmeal. You need 10 servings of whole grains per day. And while these sounded great, do we not look around and go, why the heck are we so out of shape? Well, the truth is that when you're eating diets that are high in carbohydrates that are based in refined and processed foods, these are the biggest culprits of why our insulin goes up. Now, notice I'm not saying carbohydrates are bad. Vegetables are carbohydrate, fruits are carbohydrate, rice, quinoa, potatoes, these are all carbohydrates that our body loves. But what happens is when we take these foods like, sugar cane and wheat flour that are naturally occurring in the environment, we process and refine them. They cause an exaggerated response on insulin. So when we eat these foods, especially like first thing when we wake up, then we have a snack, then we eat lunch, then we have a snack, then we have dinner, and we probably have another snack. What we're doing is essentially having this hormone called insulin go up, 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 up. And every time insulin goes up, it is next to impossible to burn the fat you have stored. Now here's something you need to know. When you want to lose stored body fat, do you want to know what has to happen? You have to utilize it for energy, and you can't do that when insulin is up. So this process that we need to learn how to do is called keeping our body fat adapted. And this, at first, you're like, huh? I want to be fat adapted? You bet you do. And I teach all about this in my Last Diet Makeover program, but I'm going to give you the rundown. So basically, when your body is in a fat adapted state, your body is able to go into body fat, use that as energy instead of always relying on you eating every 1 to 2 hours to access your fuel. Because if your body has no idea, or if you are feeding yourself enough that you give it no reason to go into storage, then you're going to be constantly using fuel in the body that you're eating, so fuel in the blood. So insulin goes up, it stores what you eat. Insulin goes up, it stores what you eat. You need to let that hormone insulin come down. And there's 2 quick ways I'm going to go about that you need to do that. Number 1, we need to stop snacking. Snacking is always an emotional decision. If you feel, like sometimes I have women say to me, like, Tanessa, no, you don't understand. If I don't eat every 1 to 2 hours, my blood sugar drops. Unless you are medically diagnosed with low blood sugar, what you're experiencing is carbohydrate withdrawal, is sugar, specifically sugar and flour withdrawal. Because here's the thing, your body was designed to go periods of time without eating. Think back to caveman days. That is what the fat that is stored on your body is for. If you're constantly feeding it, your body has not remembered how to access that fuel on a regular basis. So when you are telling me, oh no, I get low blood sugar, I get terrible. No, what you're experiencing, totally normal, carbohydrate, refined carbohydrate withdrawal. So what we need to stop doing is we need to stop eating all the dang time, because here's the thing, when your body is fat adapted, meaning your body can dine in, eat some extra body fat if you have to go a couple hours between meals, I can easily go between my dinner and the next morning 16 hours, 18 hours without eating, and my body does not freak out. You should not need to eat every 1, 2, and 3 hours in order to stay sustained. If you are doing that, your body is likely running on short-term sugars that you are feeding it from breads, pastas, cakes, granola bars, all of those kind of things that are processed and refined. All right, so that is number 1, is we need to stop snacking. And number 2 is we need to eat foods that are closest to their whole state. Foods that are more in their natural state, meaning they haven't been processed, they haven't been refined. I'm talking about things like fruits, vegetables, protein, eggs, healthy fats, things that are closest to how nature made them. Those are the foods that have the least impact on your insulin. The foods that have the biggest impact on insulin are your processed flours, your refined sugars, anything that was taken from its natural state, concentrated down, and then put into your body, because that just causes that hormone to go up. I cannot tell you how many clients I have worked with. Like, I have one that's specifically in my mind right now, and she was grazing throughout the whole day, but never was really overeating, and nothing was ever really that bad. We took out the refined sugars and the processed flours, and then what we did was we started saying, okay, your meals need to have a start and an end time. You start, and then you finish the meal. It's not an all-day grazing thing. She's down 26 pounds in 3.5 months. I'm talking, you guys, this is significant. We are a society that is up against chronically high insulin levels, and it is wreaking havoc. The levels of diabetes are unprecedented right now, and our doctors are treating diabetes by giving you more insulin. We are getting fatter and fatter, and this needs to stop. And it comes back to learning and recalibrating those hunger signals. We need to come back to whole foods and get away from the processed crap that we're filling our diet with. That is problem number 1. We can see that that's a problem, right? We understand that as long as we are constantly facilitating this increase in insulin, we are going to be pulling our hair out wondering why all my egg white omelets and yogurt for breakfast with granola is not helping me. There's no fats, there's no proteins. We need to make sure that we are bringing insulin down so that you can access that stored fat as energy and start to reduce some of the excess fat we have on our bodies for long-term health. That is problem number 1. We need to get insulin lower. So, okay, say you do that. Say you drop your insulin down and you're feeling good. Here is where most of us run into the problem next. And this is what I feel makes the work that I do with women and clients and in my communities different than everywhere else, because most nutritional programs stop there. But here's what happens. When you are constantly been feeding your body this over-processed, refined, all this, processed and refined sugars and flours, it's concentrated, which means it has an exaggerated effect on your body. You become addicted to these foods, right? And you use these foods to create joy in your life. You use foods to manage your emotions. You're stressed out, you're angry, you're tired, you're frustrated. You turn to food because food makes that feeling go away temporarily. And so many of us just want to go unconscious and stop feeling all of those feelings, because it's not a good thing to sit there in loneliness and frustration and self-doubt. And we as a culture have identified that not only do we all connect over food, but this is our way out of experiencing emotion. So here's the thing. If you have been using food, specifically, all your desserts and flowers and wines and all that, if you have been using these foods to go unconscious and not experience your emotions, when you pull those foods out of your diet, what you are left with is all the emotional garbage that you were running from in the first place. I cannot tell you the shock most people are in when they pull that stuff out and they think like, oh my gosh, this diet is so hard, I can't possibly bear it. No, it's not the diet it's having the issues. It's us not being able to deal with like, all right, well, if I'm feeling bored right now and I can't just eat a snack, what am I going to do with myself? I don't want to experience it. It's so uncomfortable. So we need to learn. Problem number 2 is how to solve for that over desire for food that we have all the time. This desire for like literally the physiological addictions we have for these foods, where our brain is so used to getting that rush of endorphins because of the concentrated nature of these foods. So we take that away and our body's going literally through a physical withdrawal that most of us don't know is happening. We just think the diet is hard. It's not. This is normal. It's fine. It only lasts a couple weeks, but most of us don't make it through that to figure that out. Then we pull these foods out and all of these feelings come up that we don't like. All of a sudden we're feeling bored, we're feeling stressed out, we're telling ourselves this is so restricting, I'm deprived, I should be able to have this isn't fair, I don't have that much weight to lose, just one won't hurt, I'll start again on Monday. Why does nothing seem to work for me? I mean, we've all thought these things, that whole cycle of what is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? How many times am I gonna have to try to lose this dang weight? And I know this because I was there. My clients are going through that right now. But when we're not told that that's part of the process, we need to get you to the point where you don't want to eat like that anymore. Where you can literally sit down at a table that has a bowl of chips there and you genuinely just don't care for it because you want other things. And I'm not talking about like resisting and like wanting it but not doing it. I'm talking about like genuinely not wanting it. I'm talking about having a bottle of wine in the fridge and being completely indifferent. I'm talking about ice cream in the freezer and it could be a chicken breast because the desire is not there. So the goal of my work is to have you not desire these foods anymore. I mean, isn't that what we all struggle with? It's like we pull these foods out, but we still want them. But what if we could just not want them anymore? Wouldn't that be nice to just be able to go out for dinner and gladly choose something that fuels our body? This is the most important work you're going to be doing. It's going to be when you take away those foods, what is left? What emotions are there? How are you going to process through so that you can deal with those emotions so you don't need to eat your way through them? And then at the same time, how can we get rid of that desire? And that's by changing our thinking. And this is missing, you guys, because you can do all the diets in the world. You can do as many food plans as you want. You can follow as many experts and download as many plans. But at the end of the day, if you don't deal with this emotional component, you will gain your weight back. You will struggle. You will feel like everything is hard, and willpower. And you know what? Weight loss is hard. It is one of the hardest things you will ever do. And I can promise you that right now. And I don't want to have you believe that all you have to do is change these foods and everything's magic. Because there's that whole emotional component that comes up. And we have to learn how to be emotional adults and be able to experience discomfort and have that be okay. Have us not have to distract ourselves through it. So these are the 2 problems that need to be addressed on your journey to a healthier and fitter you. Number 1 is you have to get your insulin down. That is priority 1, or you are not going to see results, period. You might see temporary results because you cut your calories, but it'll be back. I promise. I've seen it over and over and over again. I've been teaching health and fitness for, this is 2011 years. 11 years this year. And I cannot tell you how much I have seen the same patterns happen. It is getting your insulin down, number 1 priority. Then, Number 2 priority, after you have gotten this down, you need to learn how to deal with what is left when you are no longer eating your way through your emotions. Managing your thinking, being in that place where you no longer want that food. You don't even want to want it. You are just genuinely happy with the life you are living and the foods you are eating. Now, this doesn't mean you never eat pizza again or have a glass of wine again. It means that you plan it in a way that is not impulsive and that you're enjoying it. So those are my biggest 2 things I wanted to share with you guys today. So I want you to look at your plan right now. I want you to say, okay, what am I eating? What's going on in my body, and how am I dealing with this? If I'm feeling miserable, restricted, like I'm grinding on willpower all the time, you're not dealing with the emotional side of it. What happens when loneliness comes up? Fear, stress, anger. What are you doing to deal with those? Where are you, processing through that? Not distracting. Where are you processing through that? Actually saying, what's going on? Why am I feeling like this? How do you solve the anger or the loneliness instead of eating it with food when you don't have food as the option anymore? So I hope that has been super insightful for you guys. I'd love to hear your feedback down below. As always, I love coming to you guys with this type of information. And if you guys haven't grabbed it yet, I created, it summarizes what I'm talking about here. I created a no BS guide to a total diet makeover. And essentially what I've done is I've given you my top 2 strategies for getting your insulin down. And I talk about that. I talk about the 9 questions you need to ask when you're looking at your meal to make sure it's balanced and you're getting your whole foods. And I talk about intermittent fasting in there. And these 2 strategies, life-changing for getting your insulin down, you guys. So it's called the No BS Guide to a Total Diet Makeover, and it's free. All you have to do is you go to the webpage TanessaShears.com/diet makeover. I think it's in the banner on my main, Tanessa Shears page there. But if you just type in your name and your email, I'll send it over to you right away, and it can really help you get started. This guide alone has had women in my She Takes Action community dropping 5, 10, 15 pounds just from the information in this guide. So TanessaShears.com/diet makeover, and you can get your hands on that for free. I hope this has been helpful, you guys. I want to hear your comments on this. Where do you feel like you're getting stuck in your journey, and has one of these points been like an aha, a moment where you see like this is what I need to achieve next? I hope you guys have a brilliant week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.